change it.
We went to the McDonald's, ordered a food, and sat down at a table. Ashton and his girlfriend were sitting down facing me, and I was facing them. As we were eating, I see a middle-aged man sitting about 2 tables across from us with a little boy that looked to be about 7 or 8. The thing I remember most vividly about the boy was the extremely empty, pale look on his face. On top of that, he wasn't even eating. He kind of just sat there watching what I assumed to be his dad. At one point, the guy gets up and grabs the boy's hand, and eventually they come to us. The man starts to ask Ashton if he had any spare cash on him. While he was talking to Ashton, the boy looks at me and stares at me with eyes open wide as possible. I'll admit, it was a bit creepy, but what he said next made me want to puke. "That's not my dad. I've been kidnapped. Please help me." My blood turned to ice as I heard him say that. The man then looked at the boy and then at me, and with that, they left out the McDonald's, as I knew that he caught on to my suspicion. Ashton and his girlfriend seemed to catch on as well, and I immediately dialed 911. I explained everything to the operator and gave her a description of the man and the boy. They came, but nothing ever became of it. A few weeks later, I was watching the news, and there was a missing child report that came on. When I saw who the missing child was, I nearly screamed. It was the same kid at the McDonald's. They unfortunately found his body by a canal not far from my house, and at that point, I knew that the man had something to do with this. Apparently, he had been missing for well over 6 months, and police have been searching for him ever since the day he'd gone missing. They aren't sure as to how he died, but the news said that he had died due to dehydration, which I found very false. Ever since that day, I feel so helpless and heartbroken for that boy. There are truly some messed up people in this world that do horrible things. I hope you could use my story to
Sorry,
create
I just love
awareness
Dan
as to
Farron
how
stuff.
these things happen all too often, and how you could take action to help make the world a better place.
Who the heck is that? Did you see that?
Action to help make the world a better place.
The girl at the door right there. Look. She got taken. That sounds like a cracked neck. Oh, dang. Oh, dang. Okay, so this one is called It's a Bus Stop Horror Story, so let's do this.
This happened when I was 17 years old. I would go to the gym 3 to 4 times a week and ride the bus home. It was a Sunday and I had just missed my bus, so I had to wait longer for another one. I would have called my parents, but they were out for the evening, and taxis charged more, so I decided to sit and wait in the bus shelter. It was a cold night and snow had just started peppering the ground. My bus was taking longer than usual, so I got my phone out and listened to some music. Almost an hour had passed. It was freezing and I hadn't seen anyone at all. That was until I noticed something out of the corner of my eye. It was a creepy guy dressed in thick layers of clothing, walking slowly towards me. I knew staring at him would draw more attention, so I just focused on my phone. He sat down at the other end of the shelter and just stared at me. There was something off about him. He seemed like he was either drunk or on drugs. He then asked,
"What does the bus do?"
You look like
I
a
took out my
hobo.
earphones and said, "I think it's delayed, because of the snow." He stared at me for a while, then started mumbling to himself. He was really starting to creep me out, so I pretended to be on my phone. After a couple of minutes, I took another look. He'd moved closer to me. I looked away for a second, then heard the sound of him sliding even closer. I turned to him and said, "You okay there?" He stared at me with glossy eyes, lifted his arm and leaned towards me. Immediately, I grabbed my bag and ran as he fell to the ground. I ran down the road, trying my hardest not to look back. I kept going until I got to the next bus stop. I turned around to check to see if he was there. He was gone, so I went to sit down. Feeling relieved, I rested my head on the back of the glass and waited for the bus.
You're nasty. Imagine if there was a pandemic going around that time. Whatever time they're in.
I jolted and turned around to see the same guy staring at me through the glass. "What the hell is wrong with you?" Then he started walking around the shelter towards me. "I'm warning you, stay back!" I yelled in panic as I was backing up. I wanted to run, but I left my bag in the shelter and I couldn't leave without it. Suddenly, the man leaped at me and I quickly moved out of the way. He fell to the ground face first. I froze in shock, then noticed the blood coming from his face. I tried to get a response out of him, but nothing worked. I called the police and paramedics and they arrived shortly after. I told them what had happened and they told me that the guy was on prescription drugs. They found a photo in his wallet of him and his son. The boy looked just like me, so we assumed he thought I was him. I later learned that he had lost his son in a custody battle and went off the rails. He was taken away for treatment. That was the last I saw of him. I got my driver's license shortly after and have never been on a bus since.
Alright, that was okay. That was okay. That was definitely okay. Okay, so this one is called the Boogeyman. It's a CGI short animated horror film. So let's do this. Oh no! No, 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 no. No, what did I do? Go back. Okay. What? Start over. Alright.
Have our perceptions of the hoodies changed
Planes
at all?
ruin
Or was the
everything.
term hoodie always just a shorthand for Middle England's latest folk devil? Often demonised by the media as evil, frightening, inhuman monsters, Cameron's Hugger Hoodie speech went some way to dispel this image by
Sorry, my aunt interrupted. Sorry about that. What in the world?
And not the walking is just like a run down.
How did the door just close by itself like that? Alright, that was okay. That was okay. Okay, hope you guys enjoyed this video. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Hit the notification bell. Love y'all. Peace. Wait for the next tomorrow.